There is a move afoot in Parliament to criminalise some of the most law-abiding people in the country, sport shooters.
Following the mass shootings in Cumbria, the Home Affairs Committee decided to launch an inquiry into licensed firearms in this country and to investigate whether anything could have been done to prevent the terrible events in Cumbria. The committee have now produced their report, and there's several recommendations which we have serious concerns about. The government isn't obliged to accept any committee's recommendations, but they may feel the need to be seen to be doing things, which of course is often a disaster. Some of the main things we're concerned about: there is a recommendation to place shotguns under Section 1, which means that for every shotgun that you may own, you might need a good reason to own it. They might ask you questions about where you're going to shoot, what you're going to shoot. You might need variations, and there are over 1 million shotguns in this country and 200 million cartridges fired every year. I mean, it will be a nightmare for the police, and it will be a nightmare for the law-abiding shooting community, and it's just plain wrong.
The Home Affairs Committee is putting British jobs at risk.
You would first of all need a good reason to have that shotgun certificate, but then you would need a good reason to own each and every shotgun, which of course is a serious step up. You then, if you wanted to change the shotgun, perhaps you might need variations. Also, you would probably have to state where you plan to use that shotgun, and for many people who shoot, they may not know where they're going to be shooting in the forthcoming shooting season. And also there may be restrictions on what species you might be able to shoot. So it would be an absolute disaster for the shooting community and the gun trade if this were to happen.
The sport of shooting teaches young people firearms safety, responsibility and good citizenship. Unfortunately, the Home Affairs Committee has the young in its sights too.
What we strongly object to is penalising young shooters who have nothing to do with the likes of Derek Bird and anything else that might have happened. We think that shooting teaches young people responsibility, citizenship, and offers them a great start in life. And it also offers great opportunities to bond, often in the countryside and at shooting clubs, with members of their family and their friends under supervision.
Another recommendation from the committee is that police should ask questions about shooters' suitability to own firearms, not just to partners, but to ex-partners.
One thing about the proposal to consult domestic partners is that if it weren't so serious, it would be laughable. We all have the occasional domestic argument with our wives or partners, but the fact of the matter is, it's one thing to have an argument over who's doing the washing up, but it's quite another thing to get the police involved when we're discussing shotgun and firearms certificates. The Home Affairs Committee have tried to look at this rationally. They haven't looked at the firearms licensing for 10 years, so they're perfectly entitled to look at it. But what they must not do, and what we'll be urging the government not to do, is to penalise the law-abiding shooting community at the expense of doing nothing to solve gun crime.
Shooters value their sport as an important leisure activity. The Home Affairs Committee sees it as a money-making opportunity. One
of the other recommendations in the report is to increase fees, and again we're trying to see how this links back with the events of the last 12 months. If the whole point of fees and the certification process is to do with public safety, then we believe that law-abiding shooters should be trusted and they should pay a fee, but also a certain part of the fee should be met from the public purse if it's all about public safety.
Shooters are nervous that these proposals, were they to become law, would destroy their sport. A sport that's brought a bag full of medals at recent Olympic and Commonwealth Games. A government that takes this committee report to white paper stage risks losing the support of 750,000 shotgun and firearms licence holders and up to 3 million airgun owners.
Everybody agrees there are about 34 different pieces of legislation regarding firearms, and almost all of them have been enacted in reacting to some sort of dreadful situation. Nobody has sat down calmly and consolidated all the legislation, which we would support. But any simplification of firearms laws must not mean restrictions. The Prime Minister said, you cannot legislate for a switch flicking in someone's head, and that is exactly the sort of level-headed response we are looking for when the government respond to the Home Affairs Committee's recommendations.